We're live. We're here in the normal place, normal time. So things have returned back to a little bit kind of like, almost normal. So real quick, I'm going to wait for a second and make sure that the audio is working. I'm back in the place where I have had audio problems in the past. So I am really curious to see if the audio is working. So if the audio is working, please let me know. Drop it there in the chat. Say, yeah, I can hear you. Or no, I can't hear you. The audio is bad. So I can know that it's safe to proceed, it's safe to share these ideas, it's safe to teach lessons because the audio is working. Audio is fine. Awesome. If it doesn't work, if it stops working for some reason, please let me know in the chat. I'll keep an eye on it every so often. So, you may have noticed that there have been some changes inside of the campus. Let's cover the announcements first. Before we start talking about how to be ordinary, or how to be extraordinary, beyond ordinary, let's talk about some of the changes that have happened in the campus. I have some of you guys come in and you're worried because things are different. There's the channel that was there isn't there. The boot camp is split up into different sections, so it's different. Things have changed. Things are going to continue to change. I'm continually OODA looping and finding bigger and better ways to help you guys learn and improve. Better ways to organize the information so you can get to it. So things are changing. Whenever you see a change and you don't know what to do, oh no, I lost the boot camp, or oh no, where did that challenges thing go? Whenever you have questions, go to the announcements channel. The announcements channel, I tell you every time I make a change, I tell you guys what the change is and what to do. In fact, there's a Loom video in there that shows you most of the changes that I've made. So if you're confused or lost or overwhelmed because you were working on the boot camp and then the structure changed and you're trying to find the right stage chat, the information and the answer is in the announcements channel. Go to the announcements channel. You'll find your answer there. So we've got changes coming in and I've consolidated some of the chats. So a lot of things that were done in G of the week and challenges and all those different chats, I put them all into announcements. So everything's going to be in announcements or going to be in the actual channel where it happens. For example, if I do a marketing IQ challenge, I'm going to do it in a Marketing IQ channel, right? If I'm going to do a beginner bootcamp challenge, I'm going to do it in one of the beginner bootcamp chats, right? For example. But again, if you're lost, if you're trying to figure out what to do, just relax. It's just a little change. There's going to be lots of changes in your life that you have to learn how to deal with. Go to the announcements channel. I tell you what you need to do. It's going to be okay. All right, guys. So we're here. We've welcomed everybody. The audio's working. So let's talk about this lesson, how to become extraordinary. I talked about this. I briefly mentioned this the other day. I talked about how some of you guys want to make extraordinary money, but are trying to do it while staying ordinary, by being an ordinary person. And a lot of you guys understood that, and you got that in your mind. You're like, cool, yeah, awesome, I got to be better, right? And that's great. It's great to want to be extraordinary. It's great to want to have extraordinary amounts of financial returns in this life. But let me tell you about how you actually become extraordinary. Different than ordinary. Better than ordinary. Beyond ordinary. Because I kind of told you what to do, and today I'm going to tell you a little bit more of how to do this, especially within the field of copywriting. Now, most people, when they try and solve a problem or they try and do something, they do it in an ordinary way. They do what everybody else does. They do the lowest, they invest the lowest amount of time and energy possible, and they just kind of go about it half awake, non-professionally, and they try and do something, right? That's what the ordinary person does. And if you do what the average person does, or if you do what the masses do, then you will get mediocre results. By definition, if a bunch of average people are doing it, you probably shouldn't do it. And this is something that applies to a lot of things in life. If you look at life and see what kind of the average, just mediocre person is doing, if he does something, you should be really, really, really suspect of that thing. Probably shouldn't do whatever that thing is that he does. You should do something almost completely opposite if you want to have an opposite reward in life. This is a key idea, right? To get extraordinary or special results, you have to find the causes. If those are the effects you want, you have to find the causes that the ordinary people don't tap into, right? You have to go beyond that. So the first step is to realize that, right? You can't approach things almost naturally, right? Because the average person just kind of plops in, path of least resistance, tries to solve a problem. They don't usually get their results. You can't do that. You can't just relax into the normal average approach, right? You have to be willing to go beyond and step beyond that, right? Now, there's a few key ideas here, a few key things, especially within the field of copywriting, that will take you from being an average copywriter to being an extraordinary copywriter. Number one is you must do the fundamentals right. You must obsess over the fundamentals. This path to becoming extraordinary is is almost more easily understood inside of the fighting realm. So let's say you're a young fighter and you want to fight and be a champion in the UFC, let's say. If you show up to your local MMA gym and you train and you just kind of like do what the average person does who just goes for fun, you're not going to get the same, you're not going to be able to tap into that higher level of success. You're not going to become extraordinary. One of the biggest things that, like, for example, in fighting, that a lot of guys that they don't do, that they should do, is they don't work on their fundamentals. They don't drill. They don't do their basic footwork drills, basic drills. The pros focus a lot on fundamentals, and they get really, really good at the fundamentals, and that's extremely true in copywriting. If you want to be better than average, one place where you want to go beyond the average person is in your understanding of the fundamentals. There are basic principles of human persuasion that you need to master, and those are covered in the boot camp. Those are taught very, very well inside the boot camp. Most people kind of watch the videos, maybe do a couple of the missions, and move on. Those people will never have extraordinary results. You have to study them, and you need to become a student of those principles. You start looking for how they apply in other things outside in the world. You need to find ways to continually apply them and hone them. I still sit around and think, how can I write fascinations better? How can I do curiosity better? Myself, I still double down and focus on the fundamentals, because the fundamentals are what give you the results that you want. So you need to become obsessed with doing the fundamentals correctly, right? That's one way you can stand apart from everybody else in the world. Any other copywriter, anybody trying to be good at business, doesn't matter. If you want to be successful, if you want to be extraordinary, you must focus on that. All right, it looks like the audio is still good, which is good. Let's keep going. So that's number one. Get good at the fundamentals. Now I'm going to stack on top of that one of the big, and again, the parallels between fighting. One of the reasons people don't improve the fundamentals or improve their actual skill development is because they're too busy having fun, right? In boxing or any kind of MMA training, sparring is the fun thing, man. Everybody just wants to spar because it's fun, right? And they spend almost all their time sparring and very little of their time actually improving their skills, right? And this happens inside of copywriting as well. People show up and they're like so hungry for that first client that they just outreach, like as many people as possible, which there's a time and a place for reaching out to a lot of people. However, if you do that, you're kind of stuck at that current level. You're never really going to get better. If you're just reaching out to a bunch of people and you're not really practicing your copy and you're not breaking down excellent copy from your swipe file, if you're not watching the extra live trainings, if you're not yourself doing practice work, analyzing it, improving specific skills, you'll get stuck at this level, right? You'll be a little ordinary copywriter who learned 2 or 3 things and just decided to stay there. In order to progress, you must take and invest some of your time in skill development. You must manage some of that time, take it back and say, okay, I could be outreaching right now, but I need to take this time and invest it into improving my marketing IQ. I've got lots of resources for how to do that. The best thing you can do is break down things from the swipe file and talk about it with students inside of the campus. That is one of the most important things. You need to reinvest your time in that and not just do the fun stuff or the thing that everyone else does, which is just send a bunch of templatized outreaches to everybody. You've got to step aside and invest your time in actually evolving your ability, your capacity as an individual, right? Absolutely have to do that, right? Another key thing, and this kind of is related to this, is you have to become better than the average person at investing your time. And I kind of touched on this in the beginning. The average person, he might kind of take copywriting seriously. He might kind of take, making money and developing his skills seriously. He'll spend a couple hours a day. But then he's going to spend a lot of his time just scrolling through social media, watching TV shows, playing video games, sitting around having stupid conversations with stupid people. And he's going to not get any kind of crazy results. That's what the average person does. They approach this from like a position of, I'm just going to just kind of do it and see what happens, right? You have to invest your time more wisely than that person. When they rest, you must work. When they are distracted, you must be focused. Right now, there's obviously, you have to be careful. You can't swing too far that way. If you just become a complete, if all you do is work 100% of your time and you never actually get enough rest or enough subconscious time to actually think of creative ideas, or you just completely just destroy your brain by not giving yourself the rest and recovery you need, you will fail. There's a balance. I like to say 90% of your time should be changed to your just actually doing tasks, and the other 10% of your time should be reinvested into recovery and living an interesting life. That is still work, right? But you have to be deliberate about your time and see where other people just kind of give into their urges and lose. You need to take that time and invest it into improving yourself and to performing the work. Guys, This is one of the most important keys. This is one of the reasons it is inside of the boot camp. This is one of the reasons that it is included inside of, like, there's a whole section, how to use your time and brain. This is key. You absolutely 100% have to get good at managing your time. And not just managing it, but investing it in things that will provide a return on your investment. Investing your time in something that will improve you as an individual and give you an edge over the other people. And here's another thing you can do to become extraordinary. And I mentioned this briefly when we did the quote week. We talked about Theodore Roosevelt and the love of the arena. But if you can, the ordinary person, when faced with work, he gets all worried and obsessed. You know, he thinks about how big and how dangerous it's going to be, and how much he's going to have to do, and how much time it's going to be, and how it might fail. And he worries about all those things, or he thinks about past failures, and his mind's all over the place, right? And he loses. He loses because he's afraid of human work. He's afraid of just sitting down and doing stuff. The extraordinary copywriter, the extraordinary man, he can relax into it, get all zen about it in a non-hippie way, and just do the work. He just loves to push forward and do the work. He loves throwing himself at a mountain of difficult work. Because that's what it takes to be extraordinary. You will climb for the rest of your life, right? If you want to be a top tier man, you will climb the mountain for the rest of your life. Steep, rocky, difficult paths for the rest of your life. That's your new home, right? So you can either fight that and stay down at the bottom, or you can just embrace it and learn to love it. And that's what I've chosen to do, and that's what I encourage each and every one of you to do. Look at the difficulty. Look at the problems. Look at that moment of confronting your actual weaknesses with your copy and finding your problems, right? Confront the weaknesses in your outreach. Confront the weaknesses and the challenges and the difficulty you're going to have to go through to achieve your success. Just look at it, put a big smile on your face, and start climbing. Learn to love the climb. Learn to love the struggle. It's reflexive for me. Whenever in my mind I feel the struggle, I feel the difficulty, I feel, maybe a wisp of fear around doing some kind of difficult task, it's now a trained habit. I smile and I charge at it. That's what I move towards. If you want to be extraordinary, if you want to do more work than everyone else, do better work than everyone else, and become a better copywriter than everyone else, you have to learn to charge at that feeling. If you do these things, you will be different than everyone around you. People around you are going to look at you differently. You're going to be different. People are not going to understand everything about you because you will be living a completely different life than they are, which is okay because you will get completely different results than they do. My friends, if you want to be extraordinary, you must do what extraordinary people do. You must go beyond what the ordinary people do. Work harder, work smarter, and work more with more relentless desire and drive than the average person, right? Now, that being said, definitely you have to manage recovery, you have to manage your mind, you have to take care of your health, but you have to move forward like that. That's how you become truly great. That's how you become extraordinary. That's how you can come up with a unique angle for your outreach. That's how you can land clients where other people can't, and you can defeat and conquer an entire niche if you think like this. If you go beyond the limits of an ordinary human being, you'll get things that they can never dream of. My friends, it's been a good call. It's been good to be back. I'm glad the audio worked. Guys, let's go out. Let's get it. Let's make it happen. I will talk to you guys again tomorrow.